Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are looking at something that, quite frankly, drives the entire modern world.
Mm,
It's the engine behind almost every decision we make, every book we buy, every late night at the office. We're talking about success.
the universal pursuit.
It really is. But I have to be honest with you, and I think a lot of listeners feel this way too. The word success has become, well, exhausting.
It feels like a moving
A
target.
completely moving target.
Yeah.
One day, success is hustle culture and sleeping 4 hours a night. The next day, it's slow living and, growing your own tomatoes. It's impossible to pin down.
And that's because we usually define it by the assets we acquire, money, status, followers.
Mhm.
And since you can always have more of those, you never actually feel like you've arrived.
Right, the goalposts just keep moving. But today, we're stripping all of that noise away. We're looking at a source that is ancient, incredibly concise, literally just 2 lines of text, and it claims to offer a hard, guaranteed formula for success.
We're deep diving into verses 14 and 15 of Surah Allah.
And what's so striking about this text isn't just that it defines success, but that it treats it like a scientific outcome.
Yes, it's not a wish, it's a conditional statement.
Yeah.
It's if you do X, then Y will happen.
That was the first thing that grabbed me, the certainty. The text doesn't say, if you do these things, you might have a good life. It says, and I'm quoting here, he shall indeed be successful.
Shall indeed.
Yeah, that is a very heavy promise.
It is. In the original language, the emphasis there is massive. It implies inevitability. It just cuts through all the ambiguity we usually feel about our lives.
But, and I think we have to be careful here, the success promised might not be what the modern ego expects.
That's the crucial point.
Okay, so before we get into the how, the formula itself, we need to define the what. What kind of success is this text actually promising? Because if I follow these steps and I don't wake up with $1 million, did the formula break?
Right. That's the key question. The word used for success here connects deeply to the concept of falah. And linguistically, it's not about conquering or winning, which implies someone else lost. It's actually an agricultural term.
Agricultural?
Yes. It means to furrow the earth and plant seeds so that they thrive.
Wait, so success is farming?
In a metaphorical sense, yes. It implies cultivation, growth, and flowering. Think about the difference between winning a conversation and a successful conversation.
Okay.
Winning means you dominated. A successful conversation means something grew out of it, understanding, maybe a connection. The text is promising that if you follow this roadmap, you will flourish. You'll reach your potential.
I like that distinction. It feels less, zero sum. But here's the catch, and this is where the deep dive gets tricky. The roadmap to get there is not exactly a walk in the park.
No, it is not.
The text lays out 3 specific steps, and the order seems to matter a lot.
It's everything. It's a sequence.
So we have purification, remembrance, and prayer.
Correct.
Yeah.
You can't shuffle the deck.
So let's tackle the first one. Verse 14 starts with, he who purifies himself.
The prerequisite.
And I have to play devil's advocate here. Why do we always have to start with fixing ourselves? It feels a bit heavy, doesn't it? Like, you're broken, go clean yourself up, and then maybe you can succeed.
It sounds like a barrier to entry.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that reaction. It can sound moralistic or shame-based if you look at it superficially. But let's swap the metaphor. Imagine you want to build a high-performance machine. Or maybe just write a great piece of software. What's the first step?
You usually need a clear concept. Or clean code, I guess.
Exactly. If you have bugs in the code or if the machine is full of rust and grit, it doesn't matter how much power you pump into it. It won't work. The text isn't saying you are bad. It's saying that to hold the weight of success, real, flourishing success, you need a vessel that can actually handle it.
So purification here isn't about guilt.
Not at all. The term implies tazkiyah, and this is really interesting. Tazkiyah means purification, but it also means growth.
Right.
Like pruning a tree. When you cut back dead branches, are you punishing the tree?
No, you're helping it focus its energy. If you leave the dead branches, it just wastes resources.
Precisely. He who purifies himself means he who prunes the dead weight. The ego, the distractions, the bitterness, the bad habits that are just siphoning off your energy.
It's an act of liberation, not punishment.
Exactly.
That makes more sense. It's like an energy audit. But I noticed something specific about the grammar here. It says purifies himself.
Yes.
That puts a lot of pressure on me. It doesn't say he who waits for God to purify him or he who reads a book about purification. It implies I have to do the scrubbing.
That is the agency of the text. It demands your active participation. You are the gardener of your own soul. You can't outsource this.
And I think that's why so many people fail to find that success they want.
They want the external result, the flowering, but they aren't willing to get their hands dirty doing the pruning.
Well, it's painful. Pruning hurts. Confronting your own ego or your jealousy is uncomfortable.
It is. But the text is uncompromising. It puts this step first. Before you add anything, before you add knowledge, before you add spirituality, you have to subtract.
Subtraction before addition.
Always. You can't pour clean water into a cup full of mud and expect a refreshing drink. You just get diluted mud.
Okay, so let's say we do the work. We're pruning, we're cleaning the vessel. The text then moves immediately to the second step in verse 15 and remembers the name of his Lord.
Now we fill the vessel.
But hold on, why remembers? Why not learns? If I'm trying to succeed, shouldn't I be seeking new information? Remembrance sounds like I'm just, rehashing old data.
This is such a profound insight into human psychology. The text assumes that the truth, the connection to the divine, the understanding of what is right, is already inside you.
It's latent.
It's latent, exactly. So it's not about discovery. It's about recovery.
Recovery, I like that.
Think about your own life. How often do you make a mistake or lose your temper or get stressed out, not because you didn't know better?
But because you forgot.
You just forgot all the time.
I know I shouldn't doom scroll before bed, but I do it anyway. I forget my own priorities in that moment.
Right. We suffer from a kind of spiritual amnesia. The noise of the world, the hustle, the anxiety, the notifications, it makes us forget who we are and who our Lord is. The text uses the word remembrance. It's the act of bringing that background truth to the foreground of your mind.
It's basically mindfulness, but with a specific target.
It is, but mindfulness can be vague. You can be mindful of your breathing or mindful of a raisin. This is specific. It says, remembers the name of his Lord. It anchors your focus on the source.
I want to push on the connection between step 1 and step 2. Why does purification have to come before remembrance? Can't I just remember God while I'm still a mess?
You can try, but think about signal interference. If your internal world is just cluttered, if you haven't purified, your ego is screaming, your desires are screaming, your anxieties are screaming.
Right.
The signal of remembrance is actually very subtle. You won't hear it over all that noise.
So purification lowers the noise floor.
Yes. You clear the static so you can tune into the frequency. Without purification, remembrance is just lip service. You might say the words, but your heart is somewhere else entirely.
That hits home. The number of times I've tried to meditate or focus, and my brain is just running a highlight reel of my anxieties. That's a failure of step 1, isn't it?
It's a sign that there is still some pruning to do.
Okay, so we've pruned the tree purification. We're focusing on the source of life remembrance. Now we get to the third step, and honestly, this is the one that feels the most like a checklist item. The text says, and praise.
But this is where it all crystallizes.
Is it? Because to a modern listener, prayer can feel rigid. It can feel like a ritual obligation. Why is this necessary for success? If I've already purified myself and I'm remembering the Lord in my heart, isn't that enough?
Why do I have to physically stop and pray?
Yeah.
This is the most common objection. I'm spiritual, not religious. I feel it in my heart. I don't need the motions. But the text, well, it disagrees.
Why, though?
Because we're physical beings. We are not just brains in jars. Internal states like gratitude, humility, remembrance, they're volatile. They evaporate like steam if you don't create a container for them.
So prayer is the container.
Prayer, salat, is the container. It embodies the feeling. It concretizes it.
Okay.
Look, if you love your partner, but you never do anything, you never say it, you never show up, you never perform the rituals of the relationship, does that love actually exist in the real world?
Probably not for long now.
Exactly. Remembrance is the internal state. Prayer is the external manifestation. It's the proof of life. When the text says, and praise, it's saying you must take this high spiritual frequency and ground it into your physical reality.
You bow, you prostrate, you speak, you make it real.
It's the mechanism of action. And notice the conjunction again, remembers and praise.
They're coupled.
They're coupled. You can't just have the ritual without the mindfulness. That's empty robotics. And you can't just have the mindfulness without the ritual. That's just a fleeting mood. Success requires both.
I'm really seeing the formula now. It's actually an algorithm. Input 1, remove the noise purification. Input 2, focus on the signal remembrance. Input 3, execute the action prayer.
And the output.
It is.
It is an algorithm. And the beauty of it is it diagnoses why we fail.
Let's play that out, because
Yeah.
I think most of us are failing at this, even if we try. So let's say I'm a person who is really good at step 3. I pray, I show up, I do the rituals, but I'm not successful. I don't feel that falah, that flourishing. I just feel tired.
Then you have likely skipped step 1 and 2.
Mhm.
You're performing the mechanics, the prayer, but the vessel is still full of weeds because you haven't purified. So the prayer becomes a burden. It feels like a chore because it's not fueled by that internal clarity.
Okay, flip it. What if I'm really into self-improvement? I'm doing therapy, I'm working on my shadow self, I'm purifying like crazy, but I'm still not feeling that ultimate success.
Then you might be stuck in the self. Purification is just preparation. If you clean the cup, but never fill it with anything higher, if you skip the remembrance of the Lord, then you just have a clean, empty cup.
You have a well-managed ego, but you lack purpose.
You lack the anchor.
Yes.
That's a really common modern condition, I think. We have people who are incredibly self-aware, very purified in a psychological sense, but they feel deeply lonely or disconnected.
Because they haven't moved to step 2 and 3. They haven't connected that cleaned self to the divine.
This text is incredibly efficient. It's 3 steps, but if you miss one, the whole thing just collapses.
It's a tripod. Remove one leg, and it cannot stand. But, and here is the power of that opening promise, if you do align them,
Shall indeed be successful.
it becomes like a law of nature. If you prepare the soil, plant the seed, and water it, the plant grows. It's not luck, it's alignment.
It changes the way I view struggle. Usually when things aren't working, I look outside. My boss is difficult or the economy is bad. I just need a break.
We look for external variables. Right. But this source says, stop. Look at the sequence. Is your vessel clean? Is your focus active? Is your action consistent?
It puts the keys back in your hand, which is terrifying because you can't blame anyone else.
But it's also incredibly liberating because it means the path to success is entirely within your jurisdiction.
He who purifies himself. It all starts with that decision.
And notice, it doesn't say he who is perfect.
Oh, that's a huge distinction.
Yeah.
Purification is a process, not a destination.
Oh.
You are never done purifying. You wash your hands every day, don't you? You don't say, well, I washed them in 1995, so I'm good.
I hope not.
The weeds always grow back. The dust always settles. So this formula purifies. Remember, pray isn't a one-time hack. It's a daily cycle. It's a lifestyle of constant maintenance.
That actually takes the pressure off. Success isn't some finish line where I get a trophy and then stop working. Success is the state of being in this cycle.
Precisely. The flourishing happens in the cycle. The success is the flow itself.
You know, we started this deep dive talking about how complex success is in the modern world. We have courses, masterclasses, biohacks, and yet we spent all this time unpacking 2 lines that are, what, 1,400 years old? And they hold up.
They hold up because they address the human condition, not just the market condition. We haven't changed that much. We still have egos that need pruning. We still forget what matters, and we still need to ground ourselves in action.
The technology changes, but the internal machinery is exactly the same. So, as we wrap this up, I want to turn this back to you, the listener. We've given you the roadmap. Purification, remembrance, prayer.
The theory is simple. The practice is a lifetime of work.
I want you to look at your own life right now. If you aren't feeling that indeed be successful promise, if you don't feel like you are flourishing, don't just work harder. Don't just grind more.
Troubleshoot the algorithm.
Ask yourself, which link is broken? Are you trying to pray without focus? Are you trying to remember without clearing the clutter? Or are you doing all the internal work but maybe refusing to bow down and make it real?
Identify the missing link. Because the text says the result is guaranteed, but only if the conditions are met.
It's not a lottery ticket. It's a recipe.
And the meal is worth the effort.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. Go check your inputs. We'll see you next time.